Hello, hello, hello. Welcome in, everyone, right here. Fantasy Life on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio. Kendall, Valenzuela, Adam Ronis with you for the next couple of hours, rocking and breaking down everything we saw. Well, what did we see last night, Adam? It's like you had a softball game. You were probably, did you not come home last night and say to yourself, wow, I should just go back out there? Let me just say this, Adam. I would rather us break down the Broncos-Raiders game again from last Thursday than what we watched yesterday. How you doing? How's it going?
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So, obviously I'm
Horrible.
following it on my phone during the game. I got in the car, I would say like the second quarter, listening to it, and they were even saying like, boy, this is terrible. All they're doing is running the ball. No one's trying to take
Yeah.
any chances. And then I got home and saw the second half, and yeah, that was brutal, for
It was
sure.
bad. It was horrible.
It
What are we doing?
it felt like a
Come on.
preseason game. There was no juice
If
either.
you needed fantasy points last night, sorry. The Monday Night Miracles, no one got. Thank goodness I was leading in our GST league, because or else it wouldn't have happened. Now I will say I did have Jalen Hurts, I did have Devontae Smith, so Devontae Smith came through with a touchdown. But if you had AJ Brown, I mean, we're back to that. Not scoring fantasy points. Anyone on the Packers, it just wasn't good. So I mean, 10-7 victory. Yes, that was the final score. Is what we're looking at for the Philadelphia Eagles. They hang on in this. It was just basically we could talk about the defense, but Jake Elliott broke the stalemate. That was the third quarter, so he had that 39-yard field goal, and then Devontae Smith went for a 36-yard touchdown, I think, from Jalen Hurts in that one. And then yeah, Josh Jacobs also found the end zone, and then it was over, Adam. Then it was it.
Yes.
Crazy. I couldn't
Look, I
couldn't
had
believe it.
two props in this game, and I thought I was done because they were over. So I was like, "Yep, this doesn't look good."
Oh, you got him though?
Oh yeah, Smith over
Oh,
52.5 receiving yards, and Watson over 40.5 receiving yards. And
nice.
he had that one play call back due to a illegal formation too.
Hmm.
But yeah, this was a game that you didn't want to have too much invested. If you had touchdown props, you obviously did not do well in this game. And look, this Green Bay offense is a major problem right now. We've talked
Yeah.
about it on and off. They're coming off a game last week against the Panthers at home where they couldn't score, and then this game too. The offense is just awful. The play calling is terrible. They're constantly running on first down. There's just no creativity. I know they started to suffer some injuries at receiver. Romeo Dobbs left this game. They had to bring in Bo Melton, and he dropped a
Yeah.
pass. So they are in Tucker Craft. We mentioned it that it was going to be a massive loss, and it's one game, and it's the Eagles' defense too. They're good, so you got to bring that into the equation. But still, there's nothing inspiring about this Packers offense right now, and this is a team that is in trouble. They are
Yeah.
probably going to battle the last playoff spot with like Minnesota, Chicago, and teams like that in San Francisco. But this is a team that had high aspirations making that trade for Micah Parsons, and they really haven't shown us much. I know they've had games where they
No.
put up points, but these losses have been pretty bad. I mean, they've scored 20 points at home combined the last two games. Come on.
Which is crazy because they entered Monday night with an offense tied for fifth most yards per play in the NFL. So with like five, that's sitting at 5.9. But the Eagles held them to 3.9 yards per play, and they reached the red zone one time in this game last night. Jordan Love, it looked like he was flustered for most of the game. You see the final stat line: 19 of 32 passing for 158 yards. That was his lowest yardage. I saw this stat since week 18 in that loss to the Chicago Bears last season. So it's just not clicking. And I don't know. I mean, is there a game on their schedule where you think it's going to start clicking? Because, I mean, four of their first seven drives did enter the Eagles' territory, but none of them finished in points. And I know that we can say that for both sides there, but Green Bay has averaged only 6.43 points in the first half over the past seven games. So when you've got a team like this where you just say, okay, all of them are going to get involved. We're going to throw it to every single person we know on this team, but it's just not resulting in points. It's tough to see. I mean, 6.43 points in the first half over seven games. You can't win like that.
Yeah, it's a problem now. They do get the Giants
Oh,
this
there we
week,
go.
so
There's
that
a win.
it is on the road, but they have got to show something offensively in that game because This is brutal. It's just basically, all right, let's hand it off to Josh Jacobs and see what happens. And, Jacobs for fantasy has come through because of the touchdowns, but he also has not been as efficient as last year. 3.5 yards per carry in this game. Did catch 5 passes for 33 yards. So that's what's helping him is you're seeing him a lot more involved in the passing game this year, especially the last couple weeks. He's been putting up the receptions. And he's got 11 total touchdowns in the season, but he doesn't have a 100-yard game, and he's averaging 3.8 yards per carry. So you love it that the volume's there, 26 touches, but from an efficiency standpoint in this offense, especially against better teams, it's not looked good for Green Bay.
No, it hasn't. Anything over on the Eagles side? AJ Brown, I mean, that was bad. He was targeted twice on their opening drive, and so I thought to myself, I was like, okay, this is it. We're gonna get one of those games. So he was targeted twice on the opening drive, and then not again until the final minute of the game.
Yeah, on that 4th down play, which was kind of weird that they went for it there because they opened the door for Green Bay to pretend. They probably were like, look, Green Bay is not doing anything. Let's just go for it. We'll take a chance to A.J. Brown.
They were kind of right.
Yeah, we'll try and get A.J. Brown one-on-one and see if we can get a touchdown. So, I missed the beginning of the game. So I didn't see one A.J. Brown reception. I did record it, but it doesn't seem like I need to go back and watch it, right?
I mean, unless you just want to torture yourself, I guess. It was just bad. He was targeted twice on the opening drive. And so I was sitting there like, oh, perfect. This is going to be one of those AJ Brown games. Wrong. No. So at least you got points. I mean, you got points all the way around somewhere from if you had one Devontae Smith, if you had Jalen Hurts, Josh Jacobs, Saquon Barkley, I think got 13.1. So we just have to see, I think, both of these teams make a little bit of a turn.
AJ Brown is such a problem right now because he's a guy that in most instances, it's really difficult to bench. You want to because he has so many down games, but you do that and then you miss the game that he had before the bye, where it was 4 for 121 and 2 touchdowns. But it has been a nightmare season for Brown in fantasy because I'm pretty sure if you have him, you really haven't benched him. If you're in a 10-team league and you have depth at receiver, but like how many teams actually have enough depth in a 12-team league if you have AJ Brown to sit him?
I don't think many. And I'm trying to think of waiver wire guys that you could have picked up that you would have played ahead of him. And it might have been like a flex spot like we talked about with Rondé Gadsden a couple weeks ago. But even then, you're still playing AJ Brown.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean,
and the risks, because now at some point we do have to say that it's risky to start AJ Brown, but there's nothing you can do about it. But sometimes it doesn't, outweigh the rewards. You're looking at games, you only have 3 games over 14 fantasy points this season, and the lows are really low. 1.8, 7, 2, 9, 3.3 yesterday. It's not good.
He's had 3 games this year that have absolutely crushed you, including last night. I mean, they just no contribution at all. I mean, imagine you went into a game last night and you're like, oh, I just need 4 points from AJ Brown and I get a win. You didn't get it.
No. Yeah, send us the screenshots though, because that is just horrible. It's disappointing. And the thing is that we're getting ready for the fantasy playoffs. So week 15, they take on Las Vegas. The Eagles are at home at that one. And then they're on the road against Washington, on the road against Buffalo. But that's going to be such a heartbreaker if you've got this team that's made it that far with AJ Brown, because he's probably been holding your team back. And you have to make those decisions. But like you said, at this point in the season, you're probably starting him because you don't have better options. And you're just disappointed in it.
I mean, Smith has been the better player this year.
Oh, for sure.
And I think every
I'm
week
ranking Smith ahead of him.
Yeah, I think you have to. I think it's probably taken people a long time, but if you go back and look even this year and even back to late last year, Smith has been the better player. I mean, it's not like he has been great either, but he actually has more targets on the season. And he's given you a higher floor. I mean, Smith's worst game this year, I guess, is he's had a couple, not like AJ Brown, 4.9 and 4.6, but that came in weeks 1 and 4. Since then, I mean, and he has 2 games of double-digit targets this year. AJ Brown has 1.
Yeah, and I'm looking at his highs. I mean, you're getting, 9, whatever, but you're getting 20, 19, 33, 14, 16 last night. So, yeah, going into the week, I believe I did have Devontae Smith ranked higher than AJ Brown. Not by much, but it's going to be one of those things where I think you have to moving forward, because he's just the one that's getting you the fantasy points, and that's what we have to look at here. So, anything else you want to break down from this game? Are you sure? We could talk about it the whole show. 10-7.
Jalen Hurts, once again, not running much, 27 yards rushing.
You think they're just holding on to that until the playoffs, or what? Is this just going to be their game plan the rest of the way? We haven't seen him run this season.
Yeah,
much,
it's
I should say.
Well, yeah, compared to recent seasons.
Yeah,
just 13 rushing attempts the last 3 games.
But look, and even the yards, though. I mean,
Yeah, they're not there.
let's say since Denver, because Denver's a tough team. That's week 5. You've got 3. This is yards.
Yeah,
on
Denver
the ground.
doesn't allow quarterbacks to run on them.
313 minus 10, 22-27.
Yeah, it's
since week 5.
I mean, he's
bad.
He's been okay for fantasy. You're probably disappointed though where you drafted him, right?
I'm super disappointed. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm super disappointed.
Because you see quarterbacks going later like Herbert, Drake May, even Stafford. I mean, Stafford has had a better fantasy year than Hurts.
Because Jalen Hurts was the last guy in that kind of tier where you could wait. He was going in the drafts that I was doing, and I think the same for GST. He was going after Joe Burrow, but that was kind of the last, then we have that big tier break. And we talked about that where at the time we were thinking, okay, Patrick Mahomes, obviously he's had way bigger, better games, but it was Patrick Mahomes, Baker Mayfield, Bo Nix in the next tier. So yeah, I'm super disappointed with what he's done so far this season based on where I drafted him. But you'll take 16.85 fantasy points and a win. That's what I did yesterday.
Somehow this Philly team is 7-2, and we're just talking about disappointments across the board. I mean, we didn't even get to Barkley, who, again, 22 carries for 60 yards, 3 catches for 41. I mean, 13.1 in PPR, you'll take it, but
not from Barkley.
Yeah,
it's not what you expect from Saquon Barkley.
He stayed healthy. Look, I think we all knew that Barkley was not going to come close to last year. That was obvious because,
but
again,
we didn't think it would be this drastic of a change. At least I didn't.
Yeah, it's been pretty bad. He's gone from 5.8 yards per carry to 3.9. The touchdowns obviously are way down. Last year he had 15. He's got 6 total this year. I mean, he's well. We're going to be lucky if he gets 1,000 rushing yards at this point.
He's only had 1 game above 100, and that was the Giants before their bye. That's when he got 150 and 33 fantasy points the last time we saw him.
Well, to give him credit, this was the second game this year that he totaled 100 yards from scrimmage. It's 2 weeks in a row, 101. So 2 weeks in a row, he's had 100 total yards from scrimmage. He didn't do that before that Giants game.
So maybe it's just going to keep getting better, right?
Yeah,
that's what
exactly.
We can tell ourselves.
It can't get
yes, exactly. Well, probably. You know what? He could say, "Watch this. I can definitely make it worse." Just overall disappointing Monday Night Football game. Hopefully, it can get better. Again, let's see. So the Eagles take on Detroit. Man, there's some good games this week.
Yes,
really good games this week. So the Eagles take on Detroit for Week 11, and then again, since we're so close to the fantasy playoffs, I'll start highlighting those games a little bit more. They take on Las Vegas Week 15, at Washington Week 16, and then at Buffalo Week 17. So that's what you're looking at for the Philadelphia Eagles. Yeah, and don't go watch. You can just delete that from your whatever you record your shows on.
Yeah, so we've had some really bad primetime games this week, and I just want to say that it's likely not getting better on Thursday because the Jets-Patriots, New England favored by 11.5, a game total of 43.5.
It doesn't matter for us because we're done with our Survivor teams, so we can just...
That is true.
I was thinking about that last night. You know what? And I got the team email, right? So I got the email from the guy that does our knockout pool, our Survivor pool. How many people are left, do you think, in that one? So it was 68.
I'd say 14.
No, it's still a little bit more, but it's 28.
Okay.
But that should have been me, Adam. I should have been one of the 28.
I'm saying the same thing in mine. There's 12 left. So, yeah, it's even worse.
12 is brutal. Yeah, that was just, we got to be better. What are we doing? You want to mention really quick the Giants firing Daboll? Probably could have seen that one coming.
Yeah,
to be honest.
It's not a surprise, and we know that they have been blowing these double-digit leads, and then I think, too, with Dart going out with the concussion, the one thing, this is what's always tricky, is you have a coach that is trying to keep his job. So he's like, hey, Dart, run it, keep running. I want to win the game. And obviously the Giants see this and like, wait, we got to protect our future here. We can't have this guy running recklessly like that. So, yeah, it's not a surprise. I think we expected it was going to happen.
Yeah. So again, this was yesterday after the show, but the Giants did fire Brian Daboll. They're keeping their GM, by the way. He's going to be involved in the next head coaching search, and it's going to be Mike Kafka, their offensive coordinator, for the interim head coach the rest of the season, it looks like, for the Giants. But you said it, Adam. I think Jackson Dart represented Daboll's last chance to save his job. And I think he felt that as well. So he was just in these situations saying, yeah, keep going out there. Remember when he walked into the blue medical tent to see if he
Yeah,
said it was to see if Jackson Dart was
he
okay,
went to
but
grab him.
realistically,
He's like,
he
Russell
said,
Wilson?
get
No,
out there.
no, get out.
What
Come
are you
here,
doing?
Jackson.
You can't do this to me. Let me just say this. Jackson Dart had 25 designed runs, and those are the most among quarterbacks. And that's despite him not taking over until week 4 as the starter for the Giants. You can look at a lot of stats. Sunday was his third concussion evaluation in 7 starts. He had 1 in the preseason game as well, so you can knock that up to 4. And it just wasn't good. They've lost 4 straight games. They're 2-8. They've allowed an NFL high 115 points in the fourth quarter. So maybe this is the spark that they need. But we'll see if Jackson Dart's good to go this week and if he gets through that concussion protocol. But I really don't know. Can we just have Jameis Winston? Is that too much to ask for? If they're going to lose, at least have fun with it.
I would prefer that. It doesn't seem like they'll go in that direction. I don't know why. And with Dart, look, I always say you always prepare for the worst, so you have a backup plan in place. So if you were counting on Dart as your starting quarterback, make sure to have someone else in place because you're not going to know till late in the week anyway. It's not like we're going to find out tomorrow. Oh, yeah, he's good to go. You know, it's going to take days.
Yeah. And hopefully, I mean, a lot of people might have picked him up, probably did pick him up off waivers if you're in one quarterback league. So hopefully you just kept your first quarterback that you drafted. But like you said, we'll keep an eye on that going into this week, see if he can get through the concussion protocol. Lots to talk about today, but we first have to break everything down with Dwain McFarland. That means the utilization report is live, 100% free. So you guys can go and check that out. We're going to the utilization report with Dwain next. All right, guys, I want to talk to you about Huel again. You've got Adam going out playing softball in negative 10-degree weather. You know he doesn't want to cook when he gets home. He doesn't cook anyway. You've got myself with 3 shows on a Monday, and sometimes I also just want to make sure that I don't have to cook, but I never want to skip a meal. So that's why I want to talk to you guys about Huel. The first one that I love is their Be Ready to Drink shakes. I actually have it right here. 35 grams of protein, 6 grams of fiber, 27 essential vitamins and minerals, no added sugar, gluten-free, and the best part to me, it's only $5 per meal. And my personal favorite, again, the chocolate peanut butter that I have right next to me during this show. And if I'm okay with maybe just, hey, I can cook all day today, but I don't have my daily greens, I want to make sure I go to them to get those super greens drinks as well. So I like the hibiscus one is my favorite, developed by registered nutritionists and dietitians, 42 vitamins and minerals and superfoods, only 25 calories, 4 grams of fiber, and 1 gram of sugar. Huel makes eating simple. They also just launched in Target stores nationwide. Try both products today with 15% off your purchase for new customers with my exclusive code FANTASYLIFE at www.huel.com/fantasylife. Use my code, fill out the post-checkout survey to help support the show. You know what time it is. Dwain McFarland did indeed crunch the numbers, and you can see all of that hard work at fantasylife.com for the utilization report, 100% free and presented here in this segment by DraftKings. Dwain, welcome in. How's it going? How you doing?
I'm doing awesome, Kendall. You know, that
Nice.
song there was given to us by my daughter Zoe. She is the big fan of the Arctic Monkeys. I know, Kendall, you still don't remember the name
I
of the
do
band,
remember
so
it now.
I'll just help you out. But no, things are going great. Yeah, Zoe had a musical last week, Kendall. It
Oh,
was her
shout out.
first one. So that was really great. Yeah, I'm in a great mood. We've got football, we've got musicals going on. You know, we're trying to win fantasy championships. You and Ronis bickering like, brothers and sisters.
Of
I love it.
course. Yeah, that's what we're doing. Dwayne, we're like, can you believe it's week 11? Because again, we're
No.
on the home stretch. Like we start the fantasy playoffs for most in 4 weeks. That's just blowing my mind to me that it's gone by this quickly.
Yeah, I always look at
Insane.
several teams. I'm like, oh, this team's pretty good, and I'm like, oh, I'm 5-5. Like, I need to win the rest of these
Got to get
games. You're
going.
looking at the roster thinking it's pretty good, and you're like, I might not make the playoffs.
Oh man. Again, the utilization report is live, fantasylife.com. Dwayne, can I ask you before we really dive into that? Because Adam and I did not hit it in the first segment, but Joe Burrow potentially coming back at Thanksgiving. What was your reaction to that? Was that as surprising to you as it was, at least to me?
Yeah, my reaction was I went and looked on all my rosters that don't have good quarterbacks to see if Joe Burrow is available. That was my reaction. So it'll be interesting though. Like, will they really push for him to return then if they
Yeah.
lose the next couple of games? Like, so it's kind of a tricky fab situation. I've got one really good team that is starting Sam Darnold, which has been fine, and it's got like CJ Stroud as my QB2, but it's a loaded team and Burrow's on the wire.
Nice.
So, Ronis, I want
Ooh.
your thoughts on this. I had like 387 left out of my
Oh.
1,000 fab.
Okay, so
And
Oh,
you probably do the same. This is what I do. So I go to the roster grid and I go, okay, who needs a quarterback
yeah, and how much do
badly?
they have?
Yes.
yeah.
Now, there will be other teams that even if they have a good quarterback, they're like, hey, it's Burrow. I want to get him just in case he comes back and goes off and keep him away from opponents too. But that would be the first step in determining the first price and then see how much people, because you really don't want to spend a lot on a quarterback too. That's the other
But
thing.
on a loaded roster where your
Where you
one
can win a
weakness is potentially
Ooh.
quarterback,
Yeah.
I think that changes the dynamic.
You have
So
Can they
Darnold, and who's
play?
the other one? Do you have another
Darnold
one?
and Stroud, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So I've just been streaming those.
So
So
what
yeah,
Dwain is saying, and he doesn't want to say it directly because Kendall's here, is that he is worried now that the games are important that Darnold's gonna piss his pants and
That's
perform
fine.
no, no,
poorly.
That's
I'm not
fine,
saying that. I,
Dwayne.
I actually feel
Whatever.
I feel good about Darnold, but like, yeah, I'll probably go 50% of my fab on that one. Like,
For
just
Joe Burrow,
because
yeah.
my team's loaded.
Yeah.
Every other position is like just stacked. I mean, I have guys that can start on most teams on my bench, but my quarterback's not great. So it's like Rona said, it comes down to your team. He was available in like 10 leagues. I only bid
Yeah.
on him in 3. Like all the other leagues, I'm already sitting on a really good quarterback or 2 good quarterbacks. And I don't want to carry a third.
And they play the Ravens week 15. That's the start again for the fantasy playoffs for most. And then they play the Dolphins and then the Cardinals. That's that's a
Mm.
nice stretch over there. So I would be spending money on him for
I,
sure. All
I
right.
know this sounds crazy, but how
Yeah.
much better can Burrow be than Joe Flacco?
Yeah, yeah.
Right? Look what he's
I'm
done.
with you,
It's
especially for
true.
the weapons. Honestly, Burrow will create a question mark for Jamar Chase and T Higgins, like coming off of an injury, trying to get back in a groove. We know Burrow ultimately over a big sample is going to
Yeah.
outperform Joe Flacco, but in a small one, like with
Yeah.
Russ, like honestly, like I don't know that we'll downgrade Chase and those guys, but it could be a question.
But
So
you're still trying to get him,
Yeah.
Dwayne,
yeah,
on those teams. Yeah.
yeah.
All right. Hey, TreVeyon Henderson, can we just talk about another positive thing
Wow.
that come on, we got to
Wow.
say something nice about
No,
TreVeyon
not
Henderson.
wow.
Fine.
Like
No, I know.
yeah,
How,
I'm
Finally. I'm like,
excited.
finally, we have
how
to
is he
do
number
it.
2 on your list? I thought he'd be
I know. I
1.
thought he was just going to
You
be
were just
the
trying
only
to be
thing.
calm down?
Well, the way I work the utilization report is I kind of go in an order of confidence, right?
Okay.
So if I've got a larger sample or multiple things happening, so TreVeyon, the one challenge is, oh my God, he looked fantastic when he had a full-time role. But my number one sentence under TreVeyon Henderson in the utilization report this morning is, let's be absolutely clear about one thing. We have no clue what Mike Vrabel and Josh McDaniels are going to do. We have none.
Yeah.
None.
Yeah, that's what we were saying
None.
yesterday. Like, it's easy to go and say, oh, that's it. They got to go to him. But based on what we've seen all year, we cannot say that with any type of confidence.
Yeah, and Mike Vrabel is a guy that allowed Derrick Henry to be subsidized by Dion Lewis. You know? So, I mean, look, there's a long history of shenanigans here with this coaching staff. So we'll see. But ultimately it's the beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So on scenarios like this, like what I do to paint the range of outcomes is I give you guys multiple scenarios. And because you're allowed to have your own opinion on it. So scenario 1 that I laid out is Henderson's the new running back 1 in New England. Like, if you believe that based on his historical comps and his utilization score and what he's done over the last 2 weeks, 61% of the time, those have been top 12 running backs, and 21% of them have not been top 6. So you would be a big time buyer. That would also be buying into historical trends of second round rookie running backs going back to 2015 and how they improve over the second half of the year. 37% improvement in fantasy points per game for round 2 running backs going back to 2015 when you look at the first 8 weeks of the year versus the rest of the season. But scenario 2 is, okay, Henderson's earned a larger role now because they see him. And hey guys, I thought Ian, brought up one of the best points on our show on Sunday night. He goes, Dwayne, he looked back at the coaches to see if he should go down or
Yes.
score. Like maybe that won him some brownie points with Vrabel and with McDaniels. But like in scenario 2, like, okay, great. The role is larger than it was. Maybe we don't have to deal with Terrell Jennings, but at the same time, we know that, Ramondre Stevenson gets that veteran deference, right? And they're going to give him half the work. So in that scenario, like, I think he's a borderline running back too. The thing that helps him, though, in that scenario is the schedule. You get the Jets, who don't have Quinnen Williams anymore. Then you get the Bengals, the number one matchup in fantasy for running backs, boosting opposing running back rooms by 9.9 points. Then you get the freaking Giants, the number 2 best matchup in fantasy. If Ramondre Stevenson doesn't play these next 3 games, he will be iced. Like, because Henderson's going to go off for like 125 in all those games. So then you get a bye. Then you get the Bills and the Ravens, who they're kind of like neutral. They're slightly positive matchups, but you could fall behind in games like that where you don't get to run. So you got to look at more than just what the defense has done. You got to face the offense too. And then there's scenario 3, which is you just don't trust Mike Vrabel and Josh McDaniels, and you think that as soon as Ramondre Stevenson's ready to go and Terrell Jennings is ready to play, that this is a 3-way rotation. So based on which scenario you choose, like, chooses how you want to handle this. Like, if you think it's scenario 2, he's probably a hold. Maybe you could sell, but he's probably a hold and you're going to start him. If you think it's scenario 1, he's a buy. If you think it's scenario 3, you should be selling TreVeyon Henderson right now at his absolute peak, because you will find a manager in your league that probably does believe that he is going to take this role over for the rest of the year. So it really comes down to how, like, you want to look at, like, but it's a very, very wide range of outcomes here.
This happened on Thursday, so it might have been forgotten, but J.K. Dobbins got hurt, and he had tweeted out, ban or at least call the MF for hip drop tackle. So we haven't really heard an update, but there's a chance that he misses time. We've been talking about R.J. Harvey every week because we get questions. We said you can't start him. It's been relying on touchdowns, and we saw what happened on Thursday. But if Dobbins does miss time, what is this going to do for R.J. Harvey?
Oh, man, it's huge. And Dobbins is seeking a second opinion. That's something you never want to hear. That sounds like it's something more long-term that someone has suggested you go on IR or you're going to need to have surgery. Why? You're not going to go get a second opinion if someone says, oh, man, you kind of got a low ankle sprain, right?
Yeah.
That's not happening. So RJ Harvey, I honestly thought about like maybe having him above TreVeyon Henderson, but both of these scenarios kind of have like some unknowns. We already know that Ramondre Stevenson's dealing with the toe injury and Terrell Jennings is hurt. But if you look at RJ Harvey, I think that in games without Dobbins, he's going to be a borderline running back 1. Now, he doesn't have the same schedule that TreVeyon Henderson has. Minus 3.2 fantasy boost versus the Chiefs this week. Then you have a bye. You get a nice matchup against the Commanders. But all the rest of these defenses on the rest of the schedule have been really good. But I don't worry about it too much, Kendall and Ronis, because we know how much the Broncos use the running backs in the passing game, and that can help offset some of these matchups, which quite often a lot of it is geared towards how much they give away as far as touchdowns. Let's be honest, right? Rushing touchdowns is a major component of like how these defenses stack up and the way we think about them for fantasy. But of running backs with at least 100 routes, Harvey ranks 5th in targets per route run at 23%. He ranks 11th in yards per route run at 1.42. So, yeah. Look, borderline running back 1 immediately, in my opinion, if Dobbins is out. Look, Tyler Badee, Jaleel McLaughlin, it is Sean Payton, guys. So be prepared. He's gonna play him. He's gonna play him. But you tell me what you guys think. But I think right away he moves into like a 50% snap share role, and he's already done so much on limited touches. It's like, I don't think he needs 75%. If he did get 65%, he would for sure be a running back 1. But I think on a 50% snap share, like, this guy can be a borderline running back 1.
For sure. Because if there's any time, if you've been waiting, Dwain, to start RJ Harvey, it hasn't felt good up until this moment. We never want injuries, but this is the exact moment where you would say, all right, now that J.K. Dobbins is maybe potentially down with this injury, now you're going to start him and play him. So I'm excited to see where you'd have him, where we're going to have him. I haven't even looked in the rankings this week, but I agree that you'd have to start him if J.K. Dobbins is down. Again, talking through the utilization report from Dwain McFarland here, presented by DraftKings. We don't have to talk about all 3 of these guys, Dwain, but I do want to know your stance on some of these handcuff running backs that we've seen, I don't know, an uptick, a difference in a role over the past couple of weeks with Allgeier, Brian Robinson Jr., and Blake Corum. So those are guys that we've gotten questions on so far to start the week. But you can pick one of those guys and what your expectations are for them the rest of the way.
Yeah, I mean, picking one is tough because we just want the one that is behind the starter that goes down, and we don't really want anyone to get hurt. But
Yeah,
honestly, that's what we're saying. They're really all in a similar tier. Tyler Algier gets to be in a tier really of his own because he can occasionally can't carry standalone value because he gets 75% of the team's rushing attempts once they're inside the 10-yard line, and he scored 4
crazy.
touchdowns this year. So you can run into oh my gosh, I need to use him as my running back too, and Tyler Algier might give you, 15 fantasy points. He might give you 3 the next week, but he has a better chance than those other 2 we named of actually giving you fantasy points in any given week. But they are all fantastic handcuffs. And Brian Robinson Jr., his role's grown a little bit over the last 2 weeks. And then Blake Corum is helping close out games for the Rams, which
Yeah.
the Rams, seem to be, having their way with most opponents. So, yeah, those are all 3 names that should absolutely be on rosters because if for some reason the starter went down, like we would feel very confident that those players were stepping into, I don't know, 80% of the role of the starter. Like they're
Mhm.
probably going to share a little bit more with the backup, but they would be stepping into very large roles.
Speaking of stepping into large roles, that's Aaron Jones, right? And we've seen it now the last 2 games. It's not good for Jordan Mason.
Yeah, Aaron Jones, man, like he's the number 1 guy in the utilization report just because we've
Wow.
seen him back now from from the injury for the last 2 games. And in week 9, he handled 77% of the snaps before the AC joint injury. And then this weekend, he followed that up with 69% of the rushing attempts and 63% route participation. So 72% of the snaps. Like he's dominating this backfield. Jordan Mason is dead. Jordan Mason is
Oh,
gone. Jordan Mason is
R.I.P.
Jordan Mason's a handcuff now. You can't even play Jordan Mason. And at first, Ronis, I thought, maybe it's game script. Maybe it's due to, they fell behind, need to use Aaron Jones more. Nope, nope, nope. Right away, first quarter, 96% of the snaps for Aaron Jones. And if you look at Aaron Jones in his last 2 games in the first half, he's dominated the first half touches. So really, they've just decided Aaron Jones is the better player here. And honestly, he's the better player for fantasy anyway because he's a dual threat player. Like he gets targets out of the backfield. He'll give you a nice target share. So if you look at his 42 historical comps with the utilization score going back to 2020, they've averaged 15 and a half fantasy points per game, Ronis, with most of them finishing between running back 7 and running back 18. So 29% of his comps were running back 7 to 12, 33% were running back 13 to 18. And then you have 17% on either side being low end running back 2s or high end running back 1. So really nice range of outcomes. And you got a nice, it's kind of a tough schedule, in the immediate future, but it's good for most of the fantasy playoffs. Like you get the Bears next week's a neutral matchup. Then you got to play the Packers. They're tough against the run. You got to play the Seahawks pretty good against the run. But then you get the Commanders, drum roll, please, Kendall, the Cowboys, and
Nice.
then the Giants. And
There
then
we
week
go.
17, you're gonna have to face the Lions. They're good against the run. But in 2 of your playoff games, man, you get the Cowboys and the Giants. Here are some trades that went down yesterday for Aaron Jones. And if I need a running back, I would immediately make these. Juwan Jennings, Garrett Wilson, who's now re-injured his knee, Brian
Mhm.
Thomas Jr., Rashid Shaheed. Come on, man. Like
Oh
I'm
yeah.
taking Aaron Jones if I need a running back over all of those players.
That's awesome. And who would have thought we would be saying that for Jordan Mason? I
This
know
is
a
how it
lot of
works.
people, yeah, a lot of people, myself included, liked him in the offseason because it was a 1A, 1B situation. How the times change here, Dwayne. And again, the utilization report is live at fantasylife.com. And don't forget, new DraftKings Pick 6 customers play $5 plus on your first pick set. Get $50 in bonus picks. That's right. All you need to do is play $5 plus on your first entry, and you'll get $50 in bonus picks instantly. So don't miss your shot to ride the upside. Download DraftKings Pick 6, get in on the action, and sign up using Dwayne's promo code FANTASYLIFE. Thanks to DraftKings Pick 6, as always, for sponsoring this segment. Dwayne, we appreciate you.
Hey,
Thank
I
you so
appreciate you,
much.
Kendall. And if you guys want to read more, just go to
Yes.
fantasylife.com. This is all for free. I spent a lot of time really trying to focus on range of outcomes and try instead of, everyone trying to act like they have the answers to things, guys, we don't. And so we've really tried to build solutions that can help you understand like this is what the range looks like. And now depending on what things look like in your league or what you need, you can think about how you want to approach it. But we have range of outcomes in here for Marvin Harrison Jr., DeAndre Swift for the rest of the way, Chris Olave, Ashton Genty, Jalen
Mhm.
Warren. It's an absolutely loaded, not episode, I guess,
Article. Oh,
edition
there we go. There we go.
of the utilization report.
FantasyLife.com is where you can find it yet again, because Dwain is crunching the numbers for us. As always, Dwain, we get to see you next week, and we appreciate you.
I appreciate you guys. Enjoy the rest of your day.
There he goes. Waiver wire names to know here is coming up next. Oh, this is nice. Fantasy Life right here with you on this Tuesday. Kendall, Valenzuela, Adam, Ronis, going through waiver wire names to know. Because of course, Adam, we can't have nice things. What's 1 week with another, I don't know, what was it, 6, 8 injuries that I wrote about yesterday? It's just insane. You just have to laugh or else you'll cry. So a tough waiver week. Let's just be totally honest with it. Straight up for anyone in those deeper formats, right? You're probably just really digging at the bottom of the barrel here. Jackson Dart, again, we're looking and watching the concussion protocol, see if he's good to go going into this week. We've got Garrett Wilson. That looks like he's going to miss a few weeks with that knee injury. We'll wait on Devontae Adams, Bam Knight, Aronde Gadsden. We got better news that he's more day-to-day. But I think, Adam, just to start off the top with the more obvious ones, that for whatever reason, if someone dropped these 3 players, you go and pick them up immediately. But if you're in those deeper formats, probably not readily available for you. It's Tyler Allgeier. To me, it's Alec Pierce, and then it's Parker Washington. I think Alec Pierce, the Colts are going on a bye this week. So sometimes people can make bad decisions and they need spots. They say, Alec Pierce is on a bye, I'll pick him up after. Make sure to get him. But I think, what we saw with Parker Washington, especially if BTJ's out again this week, Jacoby Myers still getting up to speed. I think those 3 are the top from my article at fantasylife.com.
Yeah, and like you said, in the deeper formats, is just not much available. A lot of these players are rostered, but those are definitely some names that could be out there when you look at the more shallow formats. And this is also a time as we get through most of the bye weeks. I know there's 2 this week. There's no one in week 12, and then I think there's week 13 and week 14.
Yes.
No, wait. There is in week 11. There is week 12. Week 13 is Thanksgiving week, so that's the week that no one's on bye. So and then week 14 is 4. I know the Patriots are 1. San Francisco.
It's the Patriots, San Francisco, Giants, Panthers. Week 14. Week 12, sneaky too, because you've got the Broncos, the Chargers, the Dolphins, the Commanders.
Yeah, some good players
you
there.
Still got 8 teams, not including the 2 this week, going.
So yeah, if you haven't already, then handcuffs are this time of year
so important.
Is when you do it. Yeah.
And the handcuffs, I mentioned it with Dwain here just a few minutes ago, but Brian Robinson Jr., he saw his, I think, most considerable workload of the season this past week. On Sunday, he had 38% of the rushing attempts, and then he had the one attempt inside the 5-yard line. So he is a handcuff to have oh my gosh, especially if you have CMC. Just do this for yourself now so you don't have to spend the money. Make sure you go and get Brian Robinson Jr. Blake Corum is another one for the Rams, right? He's going to continue getting work behind Kyren Williams. It's Kyren Williams' world, and we're just living in it. But we know that sometimes things happen, and if he were to go down, then Blake Corum would step into a huge role that you would want to make sure you have, a piece of there. And so those are, to me, those are the big 2 that you have to watch out for and look for. I don't think I missed. And Tyler Allgeier, obviously, but we just talked about him.
Yeah, Allgeier's a guy that on a given week, he can go out there and produce like we saw last week. To me, I've always looked at it. It depends on game script. If they're going to play a game from ahead or be competitive, then, he has a good chance. When they're like big underdogs, then, and they're playing from behind, then he's not going to be involved. Like when they got blown out by the Panthers that week. Now they play the Panthers again this week, but this one's at home. So this might actually be a week you could use him. But you have to understand that he could give you nothing on a given week. Right? A lot of it is dependent on touchdowns. And maybe this week they say, oh, you know what? We need to win a game. So that guy, Bijan Robinson, maybe we should give him 25 touches. It seemed to work for Jonathan Taylor last week. So maybe we should do that. And then with Corum, it's still Kyren Williams backfield. Everyone's like, oh, it's a split now. They just happen to be giving Corum more work. He has at least 12 carries in 3 straight games. He's really done nothing with it, though. He's had 4.7, 5.8, 5.6. So, but yeah, he should definitely be on a roster at this point because if something were to happen to Kyren Williams, then he would step into a big workload.
I think some deeper names that I wrote up, and again, this is for deeper formats. If you're in the 10-team, 12-team leagues, then you probably don't need to look at these guys, but maybe, give them a glance. What if I told you Adonai Mitchell, who is now with the Jets because of the Garrett Wilson injury? Again, Garrett Wilson looks like he's going to be out for a couple of weeks. He injured his knee. It's the same knee that kept him out earlier this season. But with Garrett Wilson out, I mean, Mitchell maybe becomes the team's number 2. And listen, I don't think we want the number 2 on the Jets.
I was going to say, do we even want the number 1 in the Jets?
Adam, I'm trying to dig deep here for the people so they can have, between AD Mitchell or Mac Hollins, wide receiver for the Patriots, who would you rather go and get?
If Booty is out again, I'd rather have Mac Hollins. I mean, look, AD Mitchell has talent. We know that.
Yeah.
If Justin Fields is going to throw for 50, 60 yards, you can't start anyone. Now, this is a game they're probably going to have to throw, assuming New England jumps out to a lead, which I think we all believe. But knowing the Jets, they could be down 17-3, and it's like, all right, we're going to run 3 straight plays. Here's Brees. All right, dump off to Brees. So that's the issue. But yes, in a deeper format, if I needed help, I might just put him on the bench. Stash him just to see if it can work, but it might be a quick, this is not working, let me cut him again. Because
I'm sorry.
The Jets, the only guy you want to start on this team is Brees Hall. That is it.
I'm sorry, AD Mitchell. I was trying to say nice things about you. I
get it. Unless, Aaron Glenn, once again, is not telling us who his quarterback is on a short week.
It's a competitive advantage.
Yeah, I know. The Patriots are just really shook right now. They don't know what to do. They just faced Baker Mayfield, and now they're going to sit there like, let's see, Fields or Taylor? Oh, boy.
I want to go through more names. We do have more names that we're going to dive into. And then just some of the different turning points that we saw throughout week 10 as well. Like the Ravens defense, I want to break down. And again, talking through some of these backup running backs that you need to have on your teams. We're going to break those down here next. All right, final waiver wire names to know. Where are you going for the tight end position here, Adam? This is one that I was trying to look, and we saw the impact of Tucker Kraft not being out there last night for the Packers. I think that's just going to end up being such a huge loss for this team. I was looking at Dalton Schultz.
Mm-hmm.
If you need Dalton Schultz, so 74 utilization score, 10.5 points per game this year, which is not bad. Over the last 4, he's actually averaging 13.8 points per game. So he's the number 2 target behind Nico Collins. We'll see again if CJ Stroud should be back out there, but man, that was a brutal, hit to the head. You have to wait till he goes through the concussion protocol. But I think he's a low-end tight end 1, and he's readily available across a good amount of leagues, I will say. So maybe that's someone you turn towards.
Yes, he's an option. I will give you one as well.
Okay. All right.
Who is the worst team by far against tight ends? No, come on. They've allowed 12 touchdowns to the position this year.
Dolphins?
No.
Ooh.
Really? I'm disappointed in you. The Bengals.
Oh, the Bengals. Yeah.
Pat Freiermuth. The last time he faced them, 5 catches, 111 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
Okay.
Hey, that was the game, every Steeler tight end scored a touchdown?
Oh, that's right.
Jonnu Smith, Darnell Washington. So absolutely, Pat Freiermuth.
Okay. What do you think about all of them? Should we just say all of the Steelers?
If you're desperate, I know, so I have a league with Tyler Warren on bye and Gadsden. Now, like you said, that was good news on Gadsden. It sounds like it's a bruise.
It is.
The only thing I would caution is that the Chargers have a bye in week 12. So there's a chance. It sounds like he's going to play. But there's a chance they say, you know what, we don't want to risk it. We'll sit you this week. We have a bye in week 12. You come back week 13, good to go. So you just do have to take that into account. So I'm not going to risk it. I'm actually going to put in a claim for a tight end. I don't remember if Freiermuth is there. I have to check, but
in
I do think he's there.
Who is it?
No, it's not GST. My team is toast in GST. I'm 5-5, and it's like,
I know.
It's crazy. We have 5 teams at 6-4, 5 teams at 5-5. You're 4-6, but you're in. If the playoffs started today, you have points.
Yeah, I've got points.
And then there's one team with 1 win. It is insane. And like I said, I've been seeing this in a lot of leagues this year. I see very few teams. I haven't seen any 10-0 teams in any leagues I'm in. I haven't seen a 9-1. I do have 1 8-2, but I'm not seeing a lot of that. Like 7-3, 6. A lot of 7-3, 6-4, 5-5s. It's really, really close this year. But yeah, I think Freiermuth, certainly a tight end. Schultz is a good one as well. He might have been dropped, probably not, but Jawan Johnson with Tyler Shuck in there and Shaheed gone. Jawan Johnson is like the number 2 behind Chris Olave now.
Yeah, I like the call out for Juwan Johnson because I do think he might have been dropped
He could
because
have
I
been, yeah.
mean, again, with Tyler Shuck, I mean, that was one of the questions I wanted to ask you yesterday. But he took a big step forward. Again, it's not anything amazing. It's not something where we say, you can go pick Tyler Shuck off waivers or anything like that. But he finished 19 to 27, 282 yards, 2 touchdowns. And I just think this is one where you look through the utilization report, and Dwayne highlighted this with Chris Olave, but I think the same thing can be applied for one Juwan Johnson here is that we don't have a big enough sample with Tyler Shuck, but he's shown enough where you can say, I am way more comfortable with Chris Olave going into this weekend than what we thought could be happening before we saw Tyler Shuck out there.
Yes, that's what you wanted to see. Can he get the football to Olave, Jawan Johnson, I guess, Alvin Kamara for those that still have him and use him. And that was like his biggest game of the season. Still didn't score a touchdown, though, but was more involved in the passing game. So I think that's what you wanted to see. And that was definitely a good sign if you have Olave and Jawan Johnson going forward.
Let me just say 2 quarterbacks. One, Marcus Mariota, Jacoby Brissett. I feel like those are the 2. But listen, if Joe Burrow's out there, you're picking him up, right? But the only thing is, if you need a quarterback this week, which hopefully people don't, Adam, because there's not, it's the Saints this week on a bye and it's the Colts. So if you had Daniel Jones, I'm just thinking that maybe unless you drop them, you have a second quarterback on that team. But if you're willing to wait, I mean, Dwayne just talked about it. You can go pick up Joe Burrow.
Yes. Again, there is some risk. There was some talk, too, that it would depend on the record. So there were some other circumstances. It's believed that he could return Thanksgiving night or the week after. But, yeah, I think when you have a player the caliber of Burrow, you take the chance.
Yeah.
You probably don't want to spend a lot of money unless you're in a situation where you really need a quarterback, and it could make a difference. So, yeah, I think it is worth adding him.
All right, fantasylife.com. That is where you can go check out my article and all the articles 100% free. Also, while you're there, use that code SXM20. That gets you 20% off any tier 1 or tier 2 Fantasy Life Plus subscription. You know what time it is. We're going to the water cooler. So make sure you're calling in. Send us your messages as well at Valenzuela17, at Adam Ronis over there on X. News and notes to know here coming up next. It is about that time for the Fantasy Life Water Cooler. This is where we go through all the pieces of news that you might have missed here and get you caught up and ready for week 11 in the NFL. Insane that we're already here, 4 weeks away from most of you to get to the fantasy playoffs. So we have to lock in and be ready to go. Kendall, Valenzuela, Adam Ronis with you on this Tuesday. As always, fantasylife.com. That's where you want to go to check out all of our articles 100% free and our newsletter free as well. So make sure you go there and sign up for that and use that code SXM20. That gets you 20% off any tier 1 or tier 2 Fantasy Life Plus subscription. That gives you the projections, the rankings, the full suite of utilization tools, everything you need to hopefully continue dominating those leagues. And Adam, we've got some good news, or not good news, but we had a lot of news that we can go through. And so the one to start off with, again, not good news because we never want people to lose their jobs, but let's just recap Brian Daboll getting fired. So Brian Daboll is now out as the Giants head coach. They are keeping their GM, it looks like, at least for the time being. Writing might have been on the wall here, Adam, probably because to me, Jackson Dart kind of represented his last chance to save his job. And so once Jackson Dart went down with that concussion in week 10, it felt all but over. Giants have lost 4 straight games. They've lost 11 straight on the road. They're 2-8 for the 3rd straight season. Just not good. I think my big question here, Adam, is that when Jackson Dart returns, and I can't remember if I was talking about this with you or with Ian Hartitz, but do you think that the, interim head coach in Kafka will say to themselves, like, hey, we have to be a little bit more careful with Jackson Dart? Could we see him run a little bit less down the stretch just to keep him safe?
It's possible. That might be a directive from up above. So I think it's certainly possible. But at the same time, those instincts take over. I remember we heard about this, I think a few years ago with Lamar Jackson. It's like, yeah, we don't want him to run as much. Like, now, could they call less design runs? Yeah, for sure. But we know what's going to happen. Then he drops back, doesn't see his receivers, and he says, oh, I can take off and run. So I think that will always be an element of his game. But maybe they do say, hey, we just have to call less design runs here because we're not going anywhere this year, and we can't have this guy injured.
Yeah, it's again 25 designed runs, the most among quarterbacks, despite him not taking over as the starter until week 4 of this season. It's just crazy how that was able to get going. Who's the favorite to be the new coach for the Giants? I know you probably don't have that up in front of
No,
you.
I
I could
don't.
get it.
I
Who
mean,
do you
I
think it
saw
would
some.
be?
I saw some
I
like
saw
terrible names being mentioned.
Well, I see Lane Kiffin here. Oh, good. Cliff Kingsbury. We would
Yeah.
love that again. Maybe we could do that. Kubiak. I've seen Kubiak's name floating around as well. And then one Mike McCarthy, your guy, Mike
Oh yeah, that's
McCarthy.
right. We forgot about him. Took the year off.
I didn't
I
forget about
did.
him. He's pulling a Vrabel. Just take a year off and let's see what happens when he comes back. So again, let's see if Jackson Dart. What do you have a feel on if Jackson Dart's going to be good to go this week, or would you err? I mean, obviously we're going to err on the side of caution. If you have him, make sure you have a backup plan in case he isn't. But what do you think?
My guess is he does not play.
Yeah, that's what I'm leaning towards as well. So again, backup plan waiver wire article is live at fantasylife.com. So make sure you guys go and check that out. Let's go over to the other piece of news then. This one was good news for Joe Burrow. I was surprised by this, Adam, but we got news right after the firing of Brian Daboll that Joe Burrow is back practicing and that he hopes to return on Thanksgiving Day. So again, he officially returned to practice Monday and it was very, very limited. The team opened the 21-day window for his return from injured reserve. We know we're not going to see him this weekend. We don't even have to speculate on that. But this was a really good move, not only for Joe Burrow, but I think for the Bengals as well. You brought up a fun point though, is like how much better is he going to be for us in fantasy football than one Joe Flacco? Which again, I can't believe we're saying that in the year 2025, but that's where we're at, Adam, and it's a good question.
Yeah, I mean it's a little joking, but if it's you see what Flacco is doing, and the numbers have been
good.
amazing, dropping back to pass a lot. But Burrow will have the same scenario in terms of the Bengals defense is atrocious, and he's gonna have to put up a lot of passes. And yes, he will be good if he goes out there, assuming there's no rust and all that. And I do think I guess the one concern I was kind of mentioned, there'll be a few factors determining it, and if what happens if they do lose the
I
next
don't know
2
why they'd
weeks?
put him back out there. I
Yeah,
really don't.
so they're at Pittsburgh. They could win that game. The last time they played, they won, right? 33-31.
Yes.
So we expect a high-scoring game. Then they're home against the Patriots. That's going to be tough. But again, they could win any shootout on any given week. So I guess the question would be if they are 3-8, do they still bring Burrow back? Because right now they probably look at it and go, hey, we're right there in this division, which I think we all believe they're not going to win because this defense is so bad. But they are only 2 games out behind Pittsburgh, and they've already beaten Pittsburgh once. I think the question is, we all believe Baltimore is going to surge to this division and win it. But do they face Baltimore twice the rest of the way?
Oh, they haven't played him?
I'm asking. Do you know
I know
offhand?
they
I'm
play
gonna look
him.
now.
I know they play him once.
No, they play him twice.
Yeah.
Yeah, they play him twice.
Man,
So
a
maybe
good
that's
fantasy
probably why
schedule.
too. Yeah. So if they could somehow, I guess, split the next 2 weeks, and then they feel like, all right, we can. Then they have a stretch where they face the Ravens, Steelers, Ravens. So then you're in control. I mean, we all know they're probably not going to win all 3 of
Yeah,
those games,
probably not.
but that's not how they think. They look at it like,
Yeah.
okay, we got a shot. So I think if you do have Burrow, you're hoping the Bengals can win one of the next 2 games, preferably both, but highly unlikely.
And I think you go about it the way that Dwain McFarland was talking about it earlier, right? He was saying he has a loaded team, but the place that he's really lacking is quarterback. And his hasn't been that bad because he's got Sam Darnold, but he also has CJ Stroud. So he's just been streaming with both of those guys. Sam Darnold didn't get him fantasy points in week 10. So it's one of those situations where you just have to be a bit careful. Pick him up if you can for Joe Burrow, if you've got a team that you feel like can continue to contend throughout the remaining weeks, or if you really need that push to get into the playoffs, maybe that's what happens. But you can't rely on him, obviously, this week. And we'll see if he is good to go, Thanksgiving. So that's 2 weeks from now, right? Or is it a week? No, it's not next week. What am I saying?
Yeah,
27th.
there would be 2
2
games
weeks.
before
Yeah.
that.
So just make sure to plan accordingly. If you are going after him, let's just say that. The other piece of news here was Garrett Wilson. Again, he is expected to miss 3 to 4 weeks with that knee injury. he's probably going to be one that you're saying for when we talk with Paul Charchian. Is it your turn or my turn? I really
think
hope
it's
your
me.
turn.
I think
Okay.
you swept the board last week to
I
pull
did.
to get
Yeah.
within
I
5-3. You're still losing on the season.
Totally beat. Well, that's okay. We don't need to go that far, but
I'm just
you might. No, I'm
spitting facts. That's all.
So Garrett Wilson again, 3 to 4 weeks, not necessarily a team that we're saying you have to run to the waiver wire and get some of these guys to fill in because, well, actually, we don't even know who the quarterback is here, Adam. They are not. Aaron Glenn, the literal quote was, and I wrote this down, don't ask about a starting quarterback. I'm not going to tell you. That was in his press conference yesterday. What are we doing? What's going on?
I don't know.
Anyway, so
Fields is probably going to be the starter, you would think, right? For at least one more week.
I would think so. I mean, until
he
lose,
loses,
right?
yeah.
What are you going to do, though? I mean, even if you have Justin Fields, you can't feel good about that. He's not running, and he's not doing anything. Not even running.
I know.
It's everything.
I have him in a super flex league, and unfortunately, I have to start him because Tyler Shuck is on bye.
Wow, what kind of super flex league?
I mean, I drafted Burrow. Now
okay?
Burrow's out there now because we have no IR spots.
Yeah.
So I wasn't holding it with 6 bench spots. I'm not holding Burrow when, again, he is coming back earlier than anticipated. I know I say all the time with these injuries, expect the worst. This is one of the outliers where, again, he's not back yet. But assuming he does meet the timetable that they've put out there and he is back Thanksgiving, this is one of those outliers where he comes back early because we can give you a bunch of guys who are just Bucky Irving hasn't played since week 4. Ricky Pearsall, Brandon Ayuk, all these guys, right? So usually, more often than not, these guys miss more time than they give us as the timetable. So Burrow's the exception for now. And yeah, unfortunately, I probably don't have enough money to get him back, and I really need him.
Dang, how much money do you have left?
I don't know, $19, 24. I don't know, something like it. It's
spend
definitely
it all,
not a lot.
Spend it all, or at least try to spend it all.
It'll be the person who's been sleeping the whole year and they got like 84, and it's like, oh, Burrow's available. Isn't that the worst, right? Like it happens all the time. These guys all year they save the money, or they're not paying attention, or they miss waivers, and then at the end of the year when they're out of it, they swoop in and get these guys.
Yeah, no, it is the absolute worst. And if that's you listening, it's totally fine. Mine last year that I made fun of one of my league mates was, and I think this is the worst thing that can ever happen to people in fantasy football, but it's when you get the first round bye and then immediately come back and lose. It's just like, what did I do all that for? That hurts so much. That was also me last year, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Whatever. All right. And Justin Fields, by the way, again, just for his stats for last week, 6 of 11 for 54 total yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. We finally got the interception, and then 7 carries for 28 yards, 6.9 fantasy points. Good for your super flex leagues there, Adam.
Yeah, as you know, I had a bad week and lost. Thank you, Justin Fields. It's insane. I just don't understand why he's not running either. That's probably the bigger surprise, and they just don't even let him throw anymore. It's embarrassing at this point. I mean, 54 passing yards in 3 of the last 4 games.
Yeah, it's bad. You can't rely on him, but we'll see. I think he does go out there this week. So that's the one part that I look at there where I think he goes out there. If you have him, though, I hope you have different options. You mentioned Ricky Pearsall. So Ricky Pearsall, they hope to have practicing this week. Brandon Ayuk's not going to practice. We're going rapid fire through these news updates, and then we'll go to the phone lines. Brock Purdy could have gone, but they decided not to put him in that situation, Adam. If you have Brock Purdy and if you've been holding on to him, once he's able to get that start, are you rolling him out there? Or are you going to go a different direction?
I think you've been fine this whole time. You probably want to see him out there for a game. So, like, I had picked him up in a league a few weeks ago because Dak Prescott was on bye last week. And then, of course, he didn't play, so I cut him. I'm like, all right. I mean, I'm going to play Dak pretty much every week. And then another league where I've been struggling at quarterback, I had Brock Purdy. I've held on to him just because I think, I don't really have great options. So if he comes back and is good, I'll probably get him back in there. But I think people have been fine without him. You've gone this far. So
for sure.
I don't even know if you are going to start him at any point. Again, it depends on who your other quarterback is. But this is crazy. Joe Burrow might be back before Brock Purdy.
That's insane. I think Brock is back this week. Right?
I don't know. They said that for several weeks.
I
You
know.
trust
He's been
him?
out since week 4.
Yes.
It's just with the toe injury, and then they said after the loss this past week that they wanted to be cautious with his return, but he could have gone, but they just decided not to put him in that situation. So, yeah, you said it. You might have better options, and you probably do because you haven't had Brock Purdy that long. I don't know why IR wasn't an option there since it's been since week 4,
Well,
which always
I
blows
think
my mind. But
I guess sometimes the injury takes longer to heal because you would have thought the same thing with Bucky Irvin and Ricky Pierce, all these guys, right? Why aren't
yeah,
they put on IR? They didn't anticipate it being this long. And so my whole point is that when they give you these timetables, always anticipate it being more because that's usually what happens. And those are just a few examples. Bucky Irvin hasn't even taken on contact yet. They're more worried about the shoulder. And with Purdy, they did say it was going to be an issue the rest of the year anyway.
yeah,
I mean, Burrow had the surgery. He didn't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why I'm shocked that we're potentially seeing Joe Burrow back at this time. But good news nonetheless. The last ones here, Dalton Kincaid week to week with the hamstring injury. So that's not good news. If you have Dalton Kincaid, you definitely are going to the waiver wire this week and picking up anyone that you can. Terry McLaurin is not playing in week 11. Water is wet, Adam, and he's not traveling to. Oh, that's the last international game.
Our
huh?
last one this week, yeah. And
Is it the
what a great
Dolphins?
one. Washington, Miami.
What do we do? How can the Dolphins get so many primetime games this year? What did they think that team was going to be?
Hey,
Even at their best, did we expect them to be a contender?
no, but at least we get to watch Devon A. Chan and Jalen
I
Waddle.
guess that's true. Rondé Gadsden day to day with that quad bruise, way better news than what could have happened there. So hopefully he is good to go this week. Again, always err on the side of caution. If you have a Rondé Gadsden, go pick up another tight end. My waiver wire article is live at fantasylife.com. And then the last one here, no timetable for Chris Godwin or Bucky Irving return. That one's bad. And that one is why I wrote up Sean Tucker just in case for running backs. Obviously, I mean, well, not so obvious last week, Adam, with Rachaad White there, but Sean Tucker, if he is out there, and I think he is pretty available across leagues. The last time I looked, he was 8% rostered on Yahoo. But when we look at him, he had 41% and 43% of the attempts over the last 2 games. Game script got out of hand that made Rachaad White clearly the lead. He had the 71% snap share in week 10, but Sean Tucker, more of an RB5, right? Still a stash, but if we keep getting this bad news about Bucky Irving, he's going to be a stash that you might want.
Yeah, there might be some scenarios where you're forced to use him this week, too, if you're dealing with a lot of injuries and the Bills, you can run on them. They are 5.5-point dogs on the road, but we're starting to see Tucker get more between the tackles because we know Rachaad White just not efficient.
No, it's not efficient at all. But again, still a good stash. RB5 really option until we see Bucky Irving return, but we don't know when that could be. Again, fantasylife.com for that waiver wire article. I see Jim on hold here, so I want to go out to the phone lines now. Again, the phone number to call in is 888-963-2682. Jim from Dallas, what do you got for us?
Hey, it's Tim, but close enough. Hey, I've got this is a full point PPR, 6-3. It's a full quarterback league, so we get to start their backups. Also, I picked up Flacco weeks ago, so I get Browning, and I'll get Burrow if he comes back automatically.
Nice.
I've also got Kyler Murray and Brissett, and I've got Dart and Wilson. Would you go ahead and drop Kyler and Brissett and keep the other two? I also need to pick up another tight end for the week because Tyler Warren's on bye.
Oh, so that's why you have to cut one of these team quarterbacks to get a tight end? Is that what it is?
Yeah, right. Yeah, correct. And I've got Jonathan Taylor on bye too, but I've got Bijan and Quinshawn going this week too. So
no need to show off now.
Yeah, well, that's now we're just jealous. It's totally fine. Whatever. That's what happens to us, Adam.
So this is tricky because like if Dart's out, you don't want Russell Wilson. We prefer Winston, but Dart
we
is
don't
just
know if we're gonna get
Winston. And Dart might only be 1 week. I guess it is cutting Arizona, right?
With Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah,
but Jacoby Brissett's giving you some good fantasy
what about
points.
Dart? Even if he misses 1 week, I mean, he's probably playing Cincinnati this week anyway.
Let me look. Hang on. Let me look at the Giants schedule because you're right. They're not going to give us.
I don't think it matters for Dart. He's already shown
They're
that he
not
can
gonna
do
give
this
us.
against
Yeah,
tough
you're
defenses.
right.
He did it
I'm just
against
looking
Denver.
at Jacoby. I was just looking at Jacoby Brissett, just total fantasy points throughout the last couple of weeks, and he's been pretty good. But you're right, it doesn't matter. It's especially if this week you still have a different quarterback besides Kyler Murray, Jacoby Brissett, then yeah, you're going to cut them, keep Dart, and then just hope he probably won't play this week, but then he's back 2 weeks from now. That's what you look at. So then if you're doing that, what tight end are you looking at this week? We've already mentioned, so I mentioned Dalton Schultz. If he is available, this seems like a league, though, where he might not be. You mentioned Pat Freiermuth, so that could be the move if you're in a deeper league here, that Pat Freiermuth, 6.2% available. And like you said, facing the Bengals again this week. And I don't know if we can expect a repeat performance, but it'll be pretty close there, Adam.
Well, I know a tight end is scoring a touchdown on that roster.
We just have to pick one of the three,
Yeah,
right?
I'll lean towards Freiermuth since he already destroyed them.
And then, yeah, Dalton Schultz was the other one I mentioned. I think Colston Loveland, is he still someone that's on your radar? From what we've seen with Cole Kmet was back in week 10. We've seen him. He's not necessarily fully healthy, but Loveland played on more of the passing downs. Kmet saw more time in the run situations. He's still someone that I think short-term and even long-term, if you can get him, hold on to him.
Yeah, it was concerning, though, that we did see more Kmet, or it cut down on the snaps for Loveland.
DJ Moore potentially out this week as well. So, and Luther Burden, that's another name we didn't mention. But
yeah, I've been holding him in deeper leagues. I want to see him get more of an opportunity. I think we all see the ability, and they just kind of stick with Zacchaeus. But yeah, if Moore is down, then maybe that finally opens it up for Burden.
All right. Appreciate everyone calling in here. We're going to try and get to as many as we can. Same with everyone on X. Appreciate everyone hanging out with us here today. But it is time. Paul Charchian is joining us. We're going through Guillotine League most chopped players. It is Adam's turn. Let's see if he can get the job done here. We're doing that coming up next. If you call yourself a sports fan, you got to have Xfinity. All the games all in one place. Here's what you get when you watch sports with Xfinity. You get the Sports Zone, every pro football game and over 1,000 college games, highlights and alerts all in one place. You get the multi-view, which means you can be in up to 4 stadiums at once. You also get the fan view. So that's live scores, odds, and stats all in one place, personalized to you. You also get the enhanced 4K and the voice remote where you can just say football. Imagine all your football all in one place. Easy. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Restrictions apply. New residential customers only. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. We are back. It is Tuesday, and you know what that means. We are talking with the one and only Paul Charchian to go through the most chopped players in Guillotine Leagues for Week 10. Welcome in, Charge. How's it going? I'm excited. And Adam gets to go up first. So Adam will be first today. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I love playing our top 10 most chopped players game with you both. It is always an honor. It's super fun, and we get to groan about the players who disappointed us greatly over the course of the weekend. I had a Monday night sweat last night that went all the way to the end of the game in one of my Guillotine leagues. I had about a 2-point lead. I had Dallas Goedert. My opponent had Romeo Dobbs, and it was a nail biter through the whole thing. And it's in my whiskey league. And the whiskey league works like this. You know, you start these Guillotine leagues with 18 teams. Every team at the end of the year sends a bottle of whiskey to the winner. So if you win, you get 17 bottles of whiskey sent to your house, and they can't be crap. We have a dollar threshold. It's got to be at least a $65 bottle. So you get 17 bottles of whiskey that show up at your house. That
right around New Year's too.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, I would care about that one as well. We should do that next year. That sounds fun. And so you won last night, obviously. You were happy with it.
I hung on. Dobbs getting knocked out at the end of the game, I think, was absolutely huge for me. And because Goddard didn't do that much. I mean, neither offense did anything. Just brutal.
Wasn't good.
Bad television right there.
All right. Adam, you ready?
Let's roll up our sleeves. We're going to look at the 10 most chopped players. I've pulled Garrett Wilson from the list because we don't like to talk about players who are going to be out. It looks like he's going to be out for a month. So you'll need to work around Garrett Wilson in our top 10 list. And then we'll hit the top 5 players and give bidding advice for those specifically. And Adam, you are up first. You need to identify 3 players from the top 10. If you miss any, then Kendall gets 1 chance to steal. Who is first?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, this guy has got to be on the list. Brock Bowers.
Nice. There we go.
The number 6 most chopped player, Brock Bowers. It was obviously the blow-up game 2 weeks ago, and then we got absolutely nothing from Brock Bowers last week. He got outscored by his own teammate at tight end. And the schedule for Brock Bowers, tricky going forward with a brutal 4-game stretch after this game against Dallas. He's got Browns, Chargers, Broncos, Eagles, Texans. That's actually a 5-game stretch. That is not easy for him, but that's Brock Bowers. Your second player, Adam, you got one in the house. Give me number 2.
He doesn't know.
No.
He doesn't know. He's nervous.
I'm going to go A.J. Brown.
Good one. Yeah.
Ding, ding, ding. Number 3, most chopped player, A.J. Brown. We're going to talk more about him because he's inside the top 5 in just a few minutes. So your third and final player, Adam,
don't mess
most
it up.
chopped.
Don't mess it up.
I think this guy's on the list.
Who are you
I'm going to
going
go Justin Jefferson.
The number 1
Yes.
most chopped
boo.
player in guillotine leagues was Justin Jefferson.
Nice.
Oh, it was a dud game despite 206 air yards last week.
Wow.
Jefferson with a very modest game. In the 4 starts that he's had with J.J. McCarthy, he has posted 13 PPR points, 10 PPR points, 14, and then last week just 6 PPR points from Justin Jefferson. The weird thing was, have you seen any of the clips that have gone viral of Justin Jefferson not caring on plays?
Giving up a little bit, Paul? That's your team too. What do you think about that?
I've never seen this. I mean, I watched every single play Justin Jefferson's ever had. I've never seen him give up on plays.
Yeah.
Whether it was before the catch, if it's mid-route, if it's after the interception. Here's Justin Jefferson barely running. Well, what is going on? That is not the Justin Jefferson that we know.
No, it's not good.
Well done, Adam. You are now ahead of Kendall 6-4 on the
6-3.
I believe.
I think
6-3.
No, I think
we missed a week. You were out a week.
Yeah, because you paid for Paul to go on a vacation so that you wouldn't.
So
have to do
you
it.
need to come up with these type of plans too.
All right, the 5 most chopped, Paul. That's what we're gonna go through now, right?
All right.
Wait,
let's go
before
through the
you
5
go,
most chopped players.
Was Saquon Barkley on this list again?
Oh my gosh, was he?
No, he was just off the list. Get this, he was 14, so he was just outside.
I wasn't going to guess him. I wasn't going to guess him, but it's a trend we've been talking about every week.
Was Derrick Henry on the list?
Derrick Henry was number 9.
Oh, he wasn't on my list.
Okay.
How did I miss him?
Wow.
Okay.
Yep. Derrick
All
Henry,
right.
number 9. All right, so let's go to the top 5, and we'll give a specific bidding advice for each of these guys. The 5th most chopped player, Philadelphia quarterback Jalen Hurts.
Wow. Okay.
The upcoming schedule is Detroit. We love it. Dallas. We love it. Chicago, by that point, 3 weeks from now, might have Jalen Johnson and Kyler Gordon back. That would help. Last week's median price on Jalen Hurts, only $40, which tells you that at this stage of your guillotine league with 8 teams left, most people have figured out quarterbacks. So they're not putting down big money on quarterbacks right now. What would you bid on Jalen Hurts? We begin with Kendall.
I would say I would keep it in that same range because you're getting down to the teams like you said. You don't have that many left. A lot of people have good elite quarterbacks, so you can also wait and hopefully you continue surviving and you get to bid on the Lamar Jacksons of the world and the Josh Allen. So I'd say $48 for Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, I'm going a lot lower. 15.
15. Why are you going under 40 was last week's median price? Why are you only going 15 on Jalen Hurts?
Just because he hasn't been running much.
Doesn't like him.
And, the other point where you said where a lot of quarterbacks, you're probably set. Maybe if I'm desperate at quarterback, I'd go a little higher, but I just don't see the need to spend when, as each week goes on, there'll be a better quarterback available.
I've got $28 on Jalen Hurts. He's probably better than the quarterback I have. He's clearly an endgame quarterback. He gives you the safe floor because of the rushing touchdowns, but he also gives you the explosive upside. What the 4 touchdown upside as we saw just a couple of weeks ago. So to me, Hurts is almost certainly better than the quarterback I have. I'm willing to pay for that. I have no problem with Kendall going over last week's median price. 28 feels safe for me. So I'm kind of right about halfway between both of you. The 4th most chopped player, and this happens every week, and we always go, oh, yeah, of course. Cincinnati wide receiver Jamar
Really?
Chase.
Wow. Yeah, that is. It's hard to believe
I just
that
never
sometimes.
think that. I just never think that that's going to be a thing when they're on a bye.
Right. It's just some players are so good. And a lot of guillotine managers have been just coasting on these great players. And watch what happens with Jonathan Taylor this week. And then, so they don't have the great roster set yet because they've been coasting on Jamar Chase. He's got a 17.9% chop rate this week. His utilization score, by the way, 94 out of 100. Here's your upcoming schedule for Chase: at Pittsburgh, then New England, and then at Baltimore. Last week's median price for Chase, $176. I thought it'd be a little higher than that.
Yeah. Oh wow.
What are we bidding on Jamar Chase?
Okay, I'm bidding a lot. I'm gonna go to that median price though. Changed my mind a little bit.
People might
right?
have less money.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll go.
He was heading into his bye last week, so I think
that's a good point.
suppressed last week's median price on Chase.
All right, I'm going 275.
Wow. I was gonna go 210. Just thinking about money left, but I'd go 210 for Jamar Chase.
Yeah, I'm 222 on Jamar Chase. So he's obviously an end game player. He's gonna get Joe Burrow back. Although at this stage, take your time, Joe Burrow. You do not need to rush onto the field. Jamar Chase's utilization has been so high at this point with Joe Flacco I feel like you're kind of set. I mean, it's rare to feel like the backup quarterback can give you every bit of the production that your starter can. That's what Jamar Chase gives you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, the third most chop player, Philadelphia wide receiver A.J. Brown, an 18% chop rate, utilization score middling 67 out of 100. Favorable schedule coming up: Detroit, at Dallas, and Chicago. Last week's median price for A.J. Brown down to just $42.
Yeah.
Boy, that says
Let me
it all.
start here. Kendall, you're going first this time. Is A.J. Brown an end game player in guillotine leagues?
No, I don't think so. I don't think he's been a good player to have. I mean, this is probably the worst type of player that you have on your roster right now because you never know when he's going to give you the big games. And he's only had 2 this season. It's 22.9 that was back in week 3, and it's 28.1 in week 7. All the other lows have been pretty low. So I'm staying down low with my bid. I would say $35, and I don't even know if I'd be comfortable starting him. Adam, what about you?
Same thing. I'm going to go $35. Again, he is a player that can just destroy your week, as we've seen numerous times. Yes, you do get the Cowboys in a couple weeks, which is great, but we have just seen this team at times just be very run heavy, very conservative, and Smith is getting more targets and is more productive than A.J. Brown.
It's not good.
I'm only at $20 on A.J. Brown for all the reasons you just mentioned. The downside is just, we've seen it so many times. We had seen it even last year when the Eagles were rolling on offense. Mm-hmm. Once a month, A.J. Brown is giving us studs. Now, once a month, A.J. Brown's giving us good games. So A.J. Brown, to me, nothing but really a bench player at this point, and I'm only putting $20 on him. Our second most chopped player is a name nobody has mentioned in this segment yet.
Ooh.
Indianapolis wide receiver Michael Pittman.
Okay, he was on my list.
I think people finally got to the point where I got to start this guy. He's good every week, and then bang, you get the bad game. His utilization score, 68 out of 100. He's on bye this week. Factor that into your bidding. And get this, after the bye, at Kansas City, then hosting Houston. So Kansas City and Houston, those are top 4 fantasy wide receiver defenses. Last week's median price on Michael Pittman was $53. I think it'll be quite a bit less here looking at bye Kansas City, Houston. Adam, how much you bidding?
Yeah, I'd say 35. The bye week is the big concern, and then those matchups after. This was his first bad game in weeks, but you do have Tyler Warren. You have Alec Pierce coming on strong. I mean, he's consistently getting targets downfield as well, and then you have Jonathan Taylor, who on a given week can have 30 touches. So I think Pittman's still solid, but there is a little level of concern there, so that's why I would keep it that low.
Yeah, I was going to do 28 just because of the bye and then those 2 games, and I hope I keep winning, Paul, and then I get to scoop them up later. That's what I can think.
Yep. I'm at 15 on Pittman, so I'm even lower than you. And I think there's a good chance he gets chopped again between bye week Kansas City and Houston. He's chopped again, and then I'll consider upping my bid on Pittman because I do like him. I just don't want him for the next 3 weeks. And 3 weeks in a guillotine league's kind of an eternity. So it's
a long time.
Time is different here. All right, as we've already revealed, the number one most chopped player in guillotine leagues last week, Minnesota wide receiver Justin Jefferson, a 20% chop rate. Utilization score is 82 out of 100. Favorable matchup with Chicago this week, then at Green Bay and at Seattle. Those are tough matchups. Last week's median price on Justin Jefferson was $201. Is Justin Jefferson an end game player? An unthinkable question as recently as a few weeks ago. What do you think?
Is it you, Adam, or me? You can go first.
I think we are on Ken.
Oh, me? See, this is the problem is that, and we were talking about this charge, like seeing Justin Jefferson give up essentially, or just, not be the Justin Jefferson that we know and love to finish plays, all of that stuff. That's concerning to me with JJ McCarthy there. So, is he an end game player? Like we know he's talented. So, but like 12 fantasy points, 14, 16, 7 this past week. Give me $120 for Justin Jefferson.
Okay, 120, Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, I'll go higher. I'll say 200. The utilization is still there. He had 12 targets. I have to think that at some point they're going to get on the same page if that volume's going to continue to go his way. He's too talented to be this mediocre, and he does get games in weeks 15 and 16 against Dallas and the Giants. So that's appealing. And I just have to think the more they work together, it will get better.
JJ McCarthy probably gets better. So you're both yes on end game player status for Justin Jefferson.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm at 125. So Adam, I think you can absolutely spend on Justin Jefferson, spend your $200, and know that you've got an end game wide receiver. And this is probably a low point for JJ McCarthy. It's his fourth start. Teams have now got some tape on him. He's still a young developing quarterback, but to your point, he's throwing to Justin Jefferson, and I would too. I'm a fourth start quarterback. I'm throwing to Justin Jefferson a lot. I'm going down with Justin Jefferson if you ask me. Yeah, right.
Exactly.
So.
Oh my gosh. Well, that's fine. Adam's still in the lead, but whatever. I still have a chance to get ahead. But Charge, we appreciate you so much. This is always such a fun segment, and it's so fun.
This will be my final segment, unfortunately.
Yes, it will be.
I adore you guys. We have had so much fun with this for the last over a year and a half. I'm sorry to see it end. This will be our last one, but I'm sure you'll continue talking Guillotine League. I think we've done a great job showing all the fun and unique aspects of Guillotine Leagues, and I hope some listeners have really enjoyed this segment. I have loved working with the two of you.
No, you're amazing,
are so much fun.
You made it fun. You made it fun.
You make
our paths will cross again. I assure you.
Yes, it will. But I've gotten so many messages, Charts, on just people loving. I got one from my mom earlier today saying she can't wait for this. Like she loves this segment.
Does she root for you to lose?
Adam, what are you doing? This is a nice moment. Get out of here. But Charge, you make Guillotine Leagues fun, and that's why so many people are joining. So we appreciate it. And yes, you're right. Our paths will cross again. We're sure.
Can't wait for that.
Thanks,
awesome.
Friends.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Charge. Appreciate you. We're going through more concerning players and some winners and losers from week 10 here coming up next.
Kendall's a loser.
Get out of here. This is Fantasy Life right here. This is Sabrina Carpenter too, by the way, Adam. I should go to that show. It's next Thursday.
Next
I'll
Thursday?
regret it. Yeah. I can bring my niece. She's over at UCLA. Shout out Olivia. Maybe I should go. You think anyone listening has hookups to Sabrina Carpenter tickets? Where's your ticket guy? Does he go to LA?
No, unfortunately, he does not.
Come on. It's fine. I'll try and figure it out.
But I do have, I actually don't have the tickets in hand yet. But I'm supposed to go to that very big, huge NFL game in Week 18 between the Cowboys and the Giants.
Woo!
Can't wait for that one.
That'll be great. Maybe you get to see Ronis at that time.
That what?
That'd be great. You could see Jameis Winston.
Oh, that would be fun.
That could be fun. I mean, that
nice 40, 30, 40, 34 shootout.
Really
that could be fun.
That could be really fun. What are we talking about?
Or it could be 10 degrees below.
Oh, it's gonna be cold. There's no question about it. Just like you're playing softball games, and you got one more tonight for the championship.
Well, hopefully. It's best of 3. So win tonight and it's
Wow, that's
over,
all
and I don't have to worry about going in the cold tomorrow.
There you go. Hey, so we were just talking about this with Paul Charchian, but JJ McCarthy's performance, I mean, what were your takeaways from that one? Because again, it wasn't amazing. It wasn't something where we're saying this is fantastic. You go ahead and start him every single time now. He threw it was the 2 interceptions, had 5 passes tipped or batted down at the line of scrimmage. The Vikings too, like they committed 8 false start penalties at home, which was really odd to see. And then we talked about Justin Jefferson it just looked like giving up. I think that we know, hopefully, that Justin Jefferson just isn't that player and he continues on to just have a good rest of the season. But still, what were your takeaways? Because those were mine. Just overall, still a little bit messy, but maybe still a step in the right direction.
I found it odd that they did not want McCarthy to throw in his first 3 starts. And then in this game where they actually were running the ball well, they abandoned the run. I mean, Aaron Jones was averaging 5.2 yards per carry. Mason only had 4 carries, but 6.3. And they let McCarthy throw 42 times. This game was close throughout. Minnesota was up 10-9 at the half. So I think it bodes well that, okay, at least McCarthy threw the ball 42 times. It wasn't great. He's running too. That's the element too.
Yes.
We know the week he came back, it was only 9 carries for 12 yards, but he scored a touchdown. This one, 5 for 48. So you know he's going to run, and it should get better. It was his 4th start. Like, the expectations are so high for him because he has all these weapons and because we've seen what other quarterbacks have done in this system that we're expecting him to come out and immediately be great, and it's just not going to happen. So I think he's still like a QB2. I do have him as a backup in a couple leagues. I actually did start him last week because I had Dak on bye, so I did start him.
14.72 fantasy points. You'll take it.
It was enough to get me a win, but wasn't great. Again,
He's got a nice fantasy, like the first 2 weeks of the fantasy playoffs, people might go back and forth.
Giants, Cowboys. That's what I'm saying with Jefferson. That's why.
I mean, that's good. And then Detroit week 17, which is different, but
that could be a shootout. Especially if they can't stop Detroit.
People might go back and forth, right, with one JJ McCarthy and say, I've held him this long. If they held on to him from weeks 3 to 8, that's when we didn't see him. But at Dallas, at New York, that's juicy matchups for the playoffs.
Yeah, you would hope that he gets better as he gets an opportunity to work with these guys a little bit more. So, yeah, QB in the QB2 conversation, and he does give you that high floor because of his rushing ability.
More fantasy winners and losers, and of course, the waiver wire names to know. My article live at fantasylife.com, so you can see all of those names 100% free. And just a reminder, you can catch Saints tight end Juwan Johnson today with RotoWire Fantasy Sports coming up at 12:15 p.m. Eastern, so make sure you stick around. We're going through all of that here coming up next. This is Fantasy Life. Kendall, Valenzuela, Adam Ronis with you right here, and appreciate everyone hanging out with us on this Tuesday. Waiver wire article is live at fantasylife.com. Wanted to say, though, Adam, when we're looking through some more concerning performances, I know we broke this down with Dwain McFarland, but I've seen a couple questions on Jordan Mason, Aaron Jones. And so Jordan Mason, it's been disappointing. We talked about that in the weeks that he was playing without Aaron Jones, too. I just expected him to do a lot more with the opportunity, I should say, that he had. And with Aaron Jones in there being basically the RB1, you've seen Jordan Mason just, especially over the last, 4 games. I mean, the utilization report score has gone down by 9 points. He saw a season low 23% snap share. Like Dwain McFarland was talking about, if you've got Jordan Mason, you almost just have to bench him unless we see something different go around. And maybe, like, I'm in one league, Adam, where I just don't think I have, like, all my running backs are hurt. And so I might not be in a situation where I can bench him, but you just can't expect fantasy points from him. He's an RB4 for me right now.
Yeah, there's no question you cannot start him. Of course, we are in leagues where we don't have any good running backs, so we probably have to start him. But if you have the options, definitely can't, because he is basically a handcuff at this point. I don't think this was what Minnesota envisioned, but they see what Jones is doing, especially in the passing game, and they're trying to win games right now. They cannot worry about preserving Jones the rest of the year. They just have to hope that he stays healthy. And Mason is just a handcuff at this point. If Jones goes down and misses time, then we'll put Mason back on our lineups, but right now we can't start him.
No, we can. I mean, the historical comps, they've averaged 8 fantasy points 8 fantasy points, Adam, with what we've seen from Mason, with 67% finishing outside the top 36. So again, I'm doing early rankings. Ian Hartitz, shout out to him, and Matthew Friedman already have their rankings out for week 11. Obviously, as you guys know, I say it all the time, those are going to change as the week goes on, but you can check those out at fantasylife.com. So that was the concerning performance that we saw. And then we already mentioned it again, but I'll say James Cook had a low, right? James Cook, 13 carries, tied a season low, rushed for 53 yards. We hope this team can turn it around, but that's not what you want to see for Cook. But rest of the way, I mean, you hope that he's just getting you double-digit fantasy points week in, week out.
Yeah, and he will. The offense flows through him. He is the offense. You saw what happened, right? He didn't have a good game. They didn't do anything.
They didn't have a good game.
We had one other game like that from him this year. That was against New England. They lost that game where they didn't get him involved in a passing game. That's the one thing, too. He started off well where it would look like, okay, he's going to be more involved in a passing game this year. He had 12 receptions through the first 4 games. Then he went a stretch of 4 straight games with 1. And then last week he had 5. They need to use him more in the passing game because he is very good catching the football. But yeah, most weeks he's going to come through. He's going to score a touchdown almost every week. He didn't this week. And again, in a PPR, he still gave you over 11 points because of the 5 receptions. So I think you just need to see that more often.
And it's a positive week 11 matchup. He's going up against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So again, they look to bounce back in that one. Waiver wire names to know. My article live at fantasylife.com. But I'll say top ones that probably aren't available to you, but just in case they are, it's Tyler Allgeier, it's Parker Washington, it's Tez Johnson. If you need to dig a little bit deeper, there are some tight ends, Adam, that I think you can go take a look at. If Alec Pierce, for whatever reason, is dropped because he's heading into a bye this week, pick him up. But, some of the deeper names is a Mac Hollins. You mentioned Pat Freiermuth at tight end, Dawson Knox if you need some help. It's a light week, to say the least.
Yeah, especially in the deeper formats. It's not a great waiver wire week.
No, but it can get better. Maybe. Probably not, because their names have not been good at all this season. But we continue on here. Make sure you stick around. Tight end Jawan Johnson will join RotoWire Fantasy Sports today, coming up at 12:15 p.m. Eastern. We will see you guys same time here tomorrow.